Hello, boys and girls. I'm Mr. Smith, and I'm here with my fellow chemistry colleagues, Mr. Iwan and Mr. Dixon. And we are going to demonstrate, there they are, we're going to demonstrate the first lab that we do. It's called Purification by Crystallization, and essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take a heterogeneous mixture. Can we show them, sir?
Let me pour some out.
All right, we'll pour some out for you. It's basically rock and sand, as you guys have been taught now that it's all, mixture. And there's these pretty blue crystals in the mixture. You can see them. Those crystals.
Can you see that all right?
Yeah.
Those blue crystals are a pure substance called copper 2 sulfate. And your teacher will explain that, why it's called copper 2 sulfate in due time. So let's get started, but we're going to separate this heterogeneous mixture. We're going to collect the pure copper 2 sulfate through first filtration and then distillation. Okay, so let's get started. And this is the handout you probably would have. We'll be posting it up. There you go.
All right.
Okay. All right, so first step, put the empty beaker on the electronic balance and press tare.
Voila.
Okay, you want to explain the tare thing?
Sorry, yeah. Back in the dark ages, when we went to school, you actually had the triple beam balances, and you would have to weigh the empty container and then weigh it with the material in it, subtract the beakers, weigh it out. But nowadays with the electronic ones, you just put it on there and it magically zeroes it out. So now what we're measuring is just the substance. How many?
Yeah, 10 to 12 grams, sir.
All right.
So he's measuring 10 to 12 grams of the substance.
Well, there's about 5, and there's 12.44. I went a little strong on that. All right. So 12.44. We should probably write that down somewhere.
Yes. I will write that down on the handout.
Next step, I believe, says add approximately 20 milliliters of water.
You are correct, sir.
All
The
right.
next step is add approximately. So we don't need to measure it.
No. And actually on this
specifically.
beaker you can see 50, and below that is 25. All you really need is just enough to cover all the material so that it has enough liquid to go into solution. So I'm going to use the distilled water.
And we want to mention that why distilled water? Because distilled water is used in chemistry experiments all the time because it's pure water. All the impurities have been taken out of it. So it's nothing but H2O, and it just keeps experiments from being contaminated.
Actually, they purify it using the techniques we're doing here, right? By
Absolutely,
evaporating it
distillation.
and-
You are correct.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Score
all right.
one for Mr. Dixon.
Well, occasionally I pay attention.
Okay, so he's about, now, we're going to boil the water because hot water will absorb or dissolve the copper sulfate crystal away from the rock and sand quicker. So let's take a minute or two here. He's lighting up the Bunsen burner.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, this is a Bunsen burner. It's the
Oh,
first time
sorry.
that you guys would have used it.
Yeah, it's a shame. You guys would be doing this.
And this should take just about a minute. That's a pretty hot flame. I can already see some bubbles on the side. There.
Okay, so we have our sample of blue crystal copper sulfate in water, and we're going to put it in this fume hood. What this fume hood does is it creates a vacuum. It sucks all the air up there, so it will speed up the water being evaporated. So It should be ready in about 2 days.
Sounds good.
So we're just gonna do that.
All right.
Okay, there you go. So we're now going to weigh our final sample, and again, this is a weighing dish. Put it on there. You push the tare or 0 button. Should say so it doesn't count the weight of the dish. And here we go. Let's see how much it weighs.
That's it.
How much is it?
We got
5.34.
5.34. So. Now, your teacher will maybe go through the calculations with you real quick in your classroom. So, but
Virtual
we're good.
classroom.
That's
it,
your
I
virtual
think.
classroom. This is pretty much the lab. So, out of the 12.44 grams of heterogeneous mixture, 5.34 grams was the pure copper sulfate. Okay.
Sounds like we could calculate some sort of percent.
Yep.
All right.
And just
Very
do a
good.
simple percent with your teacher.
All right.
Okay. All right.
And
Thank you
thank
much.
you.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Ah, I'm glad.
2, 3, action.